All right, check it out. Woke up first thing this morning, 3 a.m., grabbed my morning 5 planner, and right there at the top of the planner, there's a quote. That's what I love about this planner that I got right here, which you're going to be able to get your hands on one Black Friday for next year. These will come out Black Friday. But right at the top of the planner, there's a quote that's always submitted by members of our community. And the quote today said, "But if someone doesn't provide for their own family, and especially for a member of their household, they have denied the faith. They are worse than those who have no faith." And this was a quote that was submitted by Candace Lorette Brewington, a member of our community. And as I looked at that quote this morning, there was a couple different thoughts, feelings, emotions that it elicited. When I first read it, I was like, man, I need to dig into this story more and understand the context behind it, because I'm really not sure with just this little piece that I can get full comprehension of what the author was trying to get us to understand with this particular verse. Does that make sense? But if someone doesn't provide for their own family, and especially for a member of their household, they have denied the faith. They are worse than those that have new faith. Well, so who does that someone apply to? Right? Like, and when does that someone start to apply? Like, those are the kind of questions that my head asks. It's like, okay, is that female and male? Is that man and wife? Is that child and parent? And when it talks about providing for, especially for providing for their own family, like to where? Like, do you provide for the cousins? Do you need to provide for your cousin Craig that lives in Crenshaw? Right? And I'm sorry, my throat has been messing with me the last few days. Like, where does it go? Do we provide for family? Is it second cousins? Is it third? What about your auntie? Right? Like, I'm curious. When I see things like this, I get real curious. But if someone doesn't provide for their own family, and especially for the member of the household, they have denied the faith. They are worse than those who have no faith. So I start with this, like, some questions like that. I know I need to dig in. And then immediately I was brought back to Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip-hop preacher, #1 motivational speaker in the world. We were at Hustle and Grind Con, and he said something really powerful that transformed my life, and I'll share it with you. What he said is that it's one thing for you to take care of your family, right? He said, y'all think, here's how he said it. He said, y'all think you're doing something because you're putting food on the table and you're taking care of your wife and you're taking care of your kids. He goes, that's not doing something. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of the wife, put food on the table, take care of the kids, right? That's what he said. And then he said, you're doing something when you can put the food on the table for 100 families. He said, that's doing something. When you live your life in a way that you can make an impact on 100 families, now you're doing something. And that's when I thought, when that hit me. That was 5 years ago. Yep, 5 years ago, last month. And that hit me right in the chest. Because at the time, I was doing big things for me, my wife, and my kids, my mom. But as far as 100 families, there wasn't no way. There wasn't no way. But we're continuing to work on that. So thanks for submitting that quote, Candace. I appreciate you. Sparked some thoughts in my mind, caused me to go down a path, gain some additional knowledge. And that's what I love about these quotes at the top of every single page. This is what we all should be doing, seeking to understand. That's the key. Let's dive in.
Good morning and welcome to Rise and Grind Live. Unlock your full potential with the power of daily motivation, education, inspiration with your host, Glenn Lundy, a husband to 1, father to 8, global motivational speaker, and the author of The Morning 5.
I'm Parady, former therapist turned online entrepreneur. and wannabe comedian.
Celebrity interviews, transformational information, and a massive community around the #1 morning show in the world. It's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Wednesday. That's right. Today is Wednesday, aka CMA Day, the Carter Myers Automotive Group. I have had the blessing, the honor, the privilege to be able to spend every Wednesday with them for the last few years, 4 years, something like that. We've spent Wednesdays together. And so Wednesdays are always known as CMA Day. That's Carter Myers Automotive Group, the most amazing automotive group in the country. 23 dealerships, 1,200 associates, and opportunities. If you're ever looking to make a switch, maybe you want to make a change in your career, maybe you want to be a part of an organization that's moving and growing and doing things, maybe you want to be a part owner of a company, then you need to contact me or Liza Borges or Scott Simons, any of the people that are from Don Sankey, any of the people from CMA, and they can point you in the right direction if that's something that's on your heart. They're just an amazing organization. They're always looking for incredible people to be a part of that organization. So today is Wednesday, and I need all you folks on Facebook to do me a favor. Tag some people that you know are normally up here in the feed. I can already tell people are having a hard time finding it. So today is Wednesday, CMA Day, November 15th, 2023, and what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it will ever be Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible, incredible day. I'm coming to you live from Kansas City, Missouri. Such an amazing city. Like, I've really never spent a lot of time here. We flew in with my jet last time I was here, so we just flew in, airport, did an event, spoke, and then flew back. This time I got to spend a little bit more time here. I guess I will have been here a total of 36 hours or so. And wow, I'm telling you, it is a fascinating city. It's a quiet city. It's a super clean city, super clean. And there's old and historic buildings, but they're preserved in incredible shape everywhere. The vibe was amazing. The people were super kind. It's a big city, but it doesn't feel that way, right? It feels very intimate, very, very homey, a really, 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 really neat place. So been here in Kansas City. However, today I will be leaving right after this show, actually. I won't even have time to jump in BWC to discuss. But right after this show, I'll be leaving, and I'm going to work back home in Kentucky, right? So, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? Imagine getting ready in the morning for your day like you normally would. Okay, I'm going to work, so I'm going to get ready for the day. And then you hop on a plane, you travel 600 miles, and then you go into the office, and I'll be at the office in time for lunch, right? How amazing is that? Spectacular. What an amazing time to be alive. I was thinking about that this morning, what a blessing it is to be alive in 2023, where we have this ability to wake up in Kansas City, get ready, and be at work in Kentucky just a few hours later. And it made me think of the Oregon Trail. You guys remember the Oregon Trail? Drop it in the comments if you remember the Oregon Trail, right? And so it made me think of the Oregon Trail, and so I looked up some data and information on the Oregon Trail. And did you know they used to travel at roughly about 2 miles an hour? About 2 miles an hour was the speed that they could take these caravans through the Oregon Trail. 2 miles an hour, and they would travel about 10 to 20 miles a day, right? So anywhere from, depending on how things were going, they were traveling 8 to 12 hours a day or whatever it is, right? Because you could only travel during daylight. It's not like they had headlights on their headlights on their little Oregon Trail wagons, right? So the same trip that I'm going to do this morning, right? Like leave here at 7 o'clock in the morning and be there by lunch. That would have took 30 to 40 days by wagon. 30 to 40 days. What used to take 30 to 40 days could now happen in just a matter of hours. It's incredible to think about how much time has been compressed, how much technology has evolved. I mean, that's just what, 120 years ago, 140 years ago, right? How much technology has evolved, and what a blessing and gift it is to be alive in 2023, where we have all this opportunity. You can wake up in Kansas City and you can go to work in Lexington, Kentucky. That's what I'm talking about. God is good. Chose for you and me to be a part of this time, this existence. Created us in such a way that we get to live in such a time as this. And for that, I am grateful. And speaking of God, this week, we've been in a series called No Thank You. And we've been exploring the idea of boundaries, right? We've been exploring the idea of boundaries and knowing and understanding when and why to say no to some things and to do so in order to unlock the doors to passion and joy and purpose, right? Like Monday, we talked about drawing a line with yourself and what that really looks like. And I wanted to expand on that this morning. So check this out.
When the sun rises, so do my expectations. And I put my shoes on knowing that that sun will set with the old me. I am ever changing, a blank canvas where the possibility alone is pure adrenaline. I won't just survive. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I race daybreak to the water's edge or defeat my demons before darkness loosens its grip on the morning. No, someday I will change the world, one step, second, or day at a time. Those pieces become storylines. And with each turn of the page, the stars get closer. Yes, when I look up, growth is slight at best. Constellations appear stationary, anchored to the impossible. When I want evidence of my creation, I look at my feet, where victories are being made in real time. See, most of the time, our battles are not with what stands before us, not what's there, but with the things we long for that aren't. And I know the big picture is temporary pain for future bliss, impermanent suffering for undying satisfaction, and I will go to battle with every tick of the clock, because that's how I will win the war and someday, yes, someday change the world. So I dream big and I step small, cause no city was built in a day, and 1,000 voices whisper, maybe one calls my name, and that muted voice must be heard, and someday I will change the world. And everyone wants to fix everyone else, and everyone wants to change every single thing but themselves, and each footprint tells a story of a battle that was won. They step by step become more than words, till someday I will change the world, and I will find my reason and hold it, because sometimes the path can be unclear, and I know that I chose it. See, I had no right to dream this big. My ambition was stolen from fairy tales and the absurd. I create myself to change the world, and as go all the countless miles, I get tired for a while, can't even smile, worry I don't have what's required. But when I look back to my first steps and the years and the tears and the progress, see, I started for something more. It has to hurt to change the world. Weak knees, exhausted feet, inescapable tragedy when it's so dark. Can hardly see 3 feet in front of me, and my heart's racing. It's hard to breathe. Makes me wonder what's underneath. Makes me question everything, but I must believe to change the world. And time waits for no man, and perfection is a nomad, and it wanders to no destination. Just lost time you can't get back. 'Cause little things become big things when conformity starts diminishing, and those finish lines make you feel alive. Chase them down to change the world.
If you look up my guy Eddie, he's got a channel called Your World Within. We actually interviewed him here on the show a few years ago, but that's my guy Eddie right there. But talk about drawing a line in the sand with yourself, right? And then Tuesday we talked about drawing a line in the sand when it comes to others, right? What we're going to say yes to, what we're going to say no to, the type of people that we want to be around, excellence, so on and so forth. Today we are going to discuss drawing a line with God. G-O-D. Big G. That's happening. Before we do, though, before we go too far, you know what we got to do on this show? You know we got to do some dancing. We got to get these bodies in motion, right? An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So we need to get moving, right? If you're out working out right now, pick up the pace. If you're in bed, get your rear end up. We got stuff to do. Now, this is also the part of the show where I want you to say good morning to me, and I'm going to say good morning to you, whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay. Say what's up. I'll say what's up. And then I need you to share this out. Over there on Facebook, hit the share button. Over there on YouTube, hit the share button. I need you to share it out on Clubhouse. All the different places. Share it out. Speaking of Clubhouse, I see that Layla is with us this morning. Thanks for being here, Layla. Thanks for being here, Marvin. I see Spencer and Fayu. Thanks for being here, Fayu. I see Moad. Moad is in the building. Manu and Harsh. Thanks for being here. Emer's in the building. Mary Jane's in the building. Rasinia. I'm glad you're here. Prudence. Thanks for being in the building today. I really appreciate it. And I see Jody is up in here. I see, what does that say? This is Strings. What's up, This is Strings? I'm glad you're here. Taylor's here. Crystal's here. Dwayne is here. Mindy's here. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Wes. My guy, Wes Storm. Good morning, Dr. Bridget Turner. I'm glad you're here. Mignon is here. Tina and Derek and Nina and Sonia and Jack and so many more. Thanks for being here with me. And then, of course, my crew, the group, right? We got the Twang sisters are in the building. Rich Pintrick's in the building. Gail and Vicky. Gail, I saw that picture of that beautiful grandbaby. Congrats. Terry Lynn Carter, thanks for being here. Angie Ruffer, glad you're in the building. I know there's an echo on Clubhouse West, only during this one part where I talk and the music goes through the same feed. I appreciate you looking out, sir. Stephanie Toadvine is in the building. Tara Hope, Felicia Shakespeare, Ricardo Govindansamy. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for choosing. Let's see, I can actually do it that way. When I do it that way, I can get rid of that echo for you right there, buddy. And Robin Price is in the building. Tony Thorsted's in the building. Emily Galler in the building. Yes, Emily is in the building. Nathaniel Banks, you're in the building as well. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to talk about drawing a line with God, which I know sounds crazy, here in just a second. Before we do, though, I do want to remind everybody the Morning 5 planners will be coming out on Black Friday. If you want to order in bulk, email jessica@glennlundy.com. I highly suggest that you buy these planners for your teams. If you lead any type of organization, just gets everybody on the same page. It's absolutely incredible. Also, Ambassador Program, new book coming out in January, and would love as much as support as possible from you, getting the book into the hands of as many people as humanly possible. So if you want to be a part of the army that helps Glenn Lundy get his book out into the world, I would greatly appreciate it. We have an ambassador program, You can check that out. There should be a link somewhere in the chat, and there'd be a link at the top over on Clubhouse, and I would just love for you to be a part of that. All right, on that note, let's dive in. Drawing a line with God. It just sounds crazy even saying it. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Before we go too far, though, my girl Heather Parady, Wacky World Wednesday. Let's go.
How many content creators do we have in the house? Drop an emoji, drop a comment. Do you put out content? What kind of content do you make? Here's my studio, home office, whatever you want to call it. Plants. How many of y'all love some plants? More important than a microphone. It's more important than a microphone. Listen, I hung out with a friend. His name's Junaid Ahmed, and he builds home studios for folks. And I was like, y'all know me. I was like, can we record a segment real quick? Can you tell me what makes a great home studio? All right, y'all, we got a home studio expert right here. He builds literal studios in people's homes, broadcasting everywhere. This is Junaid right here. And I thought he was going to give us a 2-minute spill. How do you make a great home studio?
Well, you bring your personality to the studio. You got to make sure your lights are good, your video is good, and you have the best microphone that you can. Because if people can't hear you, your message is unheard. AI requires you speak and get the message out.
AI requires you? What do you mean?
I mean, transcription, right? Transcription won't do good if you don't have good audio. So you want to make sure that your audio is on point and get the message out. You want to be authentic. You want to be who you are. Share who you are, your personality.
What if you're afraid of who you are?
Then you need to work on that.
How do you work on that? Come on.
Because there's only one of you. There's only one
I
of
know, but
you.
it's scary. People looking at you on the screen. Come on.
Okay, then focus on the one person that you love. Focus on the one person that you're making that message for. Let's say it's Heather. I'm recording this video for Heather. And I'm comfortable talking to Heather. But think about your best friend. You're recording the video for that one person alone, and that's it.
That's good. That's good. Where can people connect with you, Junaid?
They can find me at Super Junaid all over the socials. Or if you want to learn more about home studios, just go to homestudiomastery.com.
Woo, fist bump. Look at that. Boom. Do you want to answer my email?
No!
Can you answer it right away?
No!
Okay, bye.
Do you want to scroll on TikTok?
No!
How about read the gossip that's online?
No.
Okay, fine.
Do you want to eat an Oreo?
No!
Eat the filling that's inside.
No!
Okay, bye.
Do you want to hang out with losers? No! People doing nothing with their lives.
No!
How about read what did I say? How about read the gossip that's online? Okay.
Sounds like the gossip.
I'm good. Go. How about read the gossip that's online?
That was so well done.
It was so good.
I'm sorry.
I nailed it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. It was too good. Okay.
So I have a relationship with God. I met him on a beach in San Diego at a time where I was done, right? Like mentally, physically, life was too hard. I was done. I was done with life. And God found me in that tattered state, broken and alone, and with literally 7 words, inspired me to completely transform my life. Now, since then, God has been someone I've been trying to get to know better, someone that I've been trying to really understand. And if I'm honest with you, it can be really difficult because God doesn't seem to communicate with me the way that I would necessarily like him to. He doesn't necessarily communicate with me the way that I would choose to communicate with others. It's almost like when you're the type of person that likes to talk on the phone, but the other person just wants to sit and text. It's like there's this, I want to communicate one way, but you want to communicate another way. And sometimes that can cause a frustration within me. And it can be difficult. I'll give you an example. God has only spoke to me, for lack of a better word. I'll use the word spoke, because it's not really an outwardly audible sensation for me. But God has really only spoke to me like 3 or 4 times. Once on the beach, once in an office when I was sitting across from my boss, once at a kitchen table on a Monday afternoon, and most recently, once at a church service, like right in the middle of the church service. And to be honest with you, it was quite distracting because it had nothing to do with what the church service was actually about. But those are the only times that I can think of. I can only think of 4 times that I've actually heard from God. Now, what's weird is when it comes to God, you don't, I don't really know. God might be communicating with me all the time, and I'm missing it because he communicates in different ways than I know and understand, right? He might be communicating with me through a thought or through a feeling or some sort of just sense. You see, it's hard to distinguish him from me. So I had to draw the line. I had to draw the line, and I had to conclude that though my life revolves around God, that doesn't necessarily mean that his life revolves around me. He cares, and he loves me deeply, and he provides, and he protects. He does all of that, but he does it in his way, not the other way around. So I had to draw a line with God. One where I trust him. One where I may not understand him, but I trust him. Like a child being led down the hall to the doctor's office for the very first time by a parent, or a pet in the car on its way to the vet. It might not understand, but it trusts because of love. You see, I drew a line in the sand when it comes to God, and that line that I drew was that though I do not understand, I will always trust.
Trust God. 2 single-syllable words that you have heard forever, but you will discover as time passes how difficult they are to obey. Trust God. Of course, I have no way of knowing what the future holds for you. You may lose your home and everything in a fire. You may lose your spouse to an early disease, detected but not cured. You may lose your dreams, your hopes. You may lose a relationship that you have cultivated over the years. All losses are painful.
We prayed just as hard for my father when his health went downhill as we did for my mother. We quoted the same scriptures. We asked God to restore his health, to let him live. But my father went to be with the Lord. It didn't happen the way I wanted. There will always be unanswered questions. Why didn't my loved one make it? Why am I not getting better? Why did this person leave? Some things are not going to make sense, but God wouldn't have allowed it if he wasn't going to bring good out of it. You may not see it at the time, but God knows what he's doing. He has your best interest at heart. It's not random. It's a part of his plan.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. All your heart, all your ways, trust. Trust.
But what about when things aren't going our way? Our prayers aren't being answered. The problem isn't turning around. We're not seeing favor. Too often we get discouraged. Think, God, why aren't you doing something? You can see I'm being mistreated. My health isn't good. I worked hard, but I didn't get the promotion. We think when it changes, we'll be happy. When I meet the right person, when my health improves, when we have this baby, then we'll have a good attitude. That's conditional trust. God, if you meet my demands, if you answer my prayers the way I want, on my timetable, then I'll be my best. The problem with conditional trust is there will always be things we don't understand. Something that's not happening fast enough. It didn't work out the way we wanted. If I would have had conditional trust, I would have gotten upset, bitter. God, why didn't you answer my prayers? The truth is, God did answer my prayer. It just wasn't the way I wanted. Are you mature enough to accept God's answers even though they're not what you were hoping for? God is a sovereign God. We're not going to understand everything that happens. Faith is trusting God when life doesn't make sense. God doesn't take us in a straight line. There'll be twists, turns, the disappointments, the loss, the bad breaks. They're all a part of his plan. But if you have conditional trust, you'll get discouraged and think, why is this happening? I'm going the wrong way. But God is still directing your steps. Trust him when you don't understand. Trust him even when it feels like you're going the wrong direction. Living worried, frustrated, disappointed, that takes our passion. It steals our joy, and it can keep us from seeing God's favor. And sometimes the closed doors, the disappointments, they are simply a test. God wants to see if we'll trust him when we don't understand it, when life doesn't make sense. We have to show him that we don't have to have the house to be happy. If we don't have the baby, we're not going to live bitter and sour. You're believing for your health to improve, but when you can say, if it doesn't get better, God, I'm still going to honor you. I'm still going to be my best. When God sees that you don't have to have it, many times like him, God will give you back what you were willing to give up. Are you living frustrated because your prayers aren't being answered the way you want? Your plans aren't working out? Take the pressure off. God is in control. He knows what's best for you. You're not always going to understand it. If you did, it wouldn't take any faith. I'm asking you to trust him unconditionally. If you'll do this, I believe and declare God is going to work out his plan for your life. He's going to open the right doors, bring the right people, turn negative situations around, and take you to the fullness of your destiny.
draw a line in the sand, and that line is one of trust. Trust that you are loved, trust that you are protected, trust that you are provided for, and trust that the voices you hear, if you believe they're from God, trust they're from God, because you are a child of God, and He can communicate with you in ways that are far beyond even our imagination. That is the message for you today. Draw the line, trust. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We'll do this all over again on hashtag Rise and Grind Live. Peace.
You're not so far away. I saw you not so long ago. Was it just yesterday? Got that old feeling that I know. In the dark of the night, I'll be alright. The sun will rise.